All right, and here we go. Good evening. Hey, it is just after 2000 on a Sunday night, and that means you're live with the Brushfire Mind. I'm Christopher Lowry, and it was probably a mistake to cover my microphone, gesturing to myself. All right, so as soon as I see you guys start chatting, I see you. Hey, Lucas. Hey, Sharon. Good to have you here. Do let me know how the sound quality is. Let me know if I'm blowing it out or if you can hear it. I still trying to get it straight, but I think I'm at least broadcasting to you. So tonight we are going to talk about what has happened with Obamacare. Um, big stuff, and it's important to understand the context here because of there's so much misinformation in the news. So we're going to get to all of that. Uh, just stick with me and enjoy the show. All right. Lucas says he can hear in his right ear with his headphones. Okay, I'll have to look into that. If that means you're getting mono sound, then I'll have to check that out and fix it later. All right. So what's happened? We're going to recap Obamacare a little bit. And first, let's talk a little bit about me. Why should you listen to this old fat boy with a beard from Georgia talk about health insurance? Well, I am not only a licensed health insurance agent, state licensure exams and study, and I have to renew the license and do professional development every so often, every 2 years in this state. I actually own ObamacareInGeorgia.com. When I got out of the Army, I got licensed as as an insurance agent. I'm licensed for all levels of insurance: property, casualty, commercial, private, health, life, accident, sickness, health, anything. I can sell you anything you need. But when I first got into the insurance business, I got my toes wet in the senior market, and that means that I worked with people going on to Medicare. And I want to talk about that a little bit because we've got Bernie screaming Medicare for all. So let me just get y'all smart on how Medicare works. So when you turn 65, you have an open enrollment period. Oh God, I've been out of the senior market for a while, but it's 3 months, 90 days on either side of your birthday. So basically, you've got a 6-month window with your birth, or I'm sorry, a 7-month window with your birth month in the middle, during which you can buy your Medicare supplement as you're first getting enrolled into Medicare. Medicare breaks down into 4 parts, sort of. There's kind of a quiet part C that we're not going to talk about much tonight, but I'll give it a little bit of treatment. Because it probably is important to hit part C a little bit too. Anyway, so when you turn in 65, and keep in mind, this is what Bernie Sanders wants for all Americans. Right now, you buy, before you're 65, when you're still working and having to deal with the Obamacare crap, you buy a health insurance policy. A health insurance policy for you. When you go into Medicare, you have Part A, B. Part C is something called Medicare Advantage, and Part D. Part A is for your hospitalization. You go on Part A automatically. Part A is not billed. You just are on Part A. Essentially, Part A is what's going to cover major life-saving treatment in a hospital, especially if you're hospitalized by an emergency room when you're over 65. But you still have copays. Under Medicare, you still have to pay copays and something akin to co-insurance. There are limits on how much of it you can use in a year. Essentially, all the crap that the Democrats say is evil about health insurance, it still exists in the Medicare world. You elect to go into Part B, and if you do not elect to take Part B, which covers your doctors, when you turn 65, you go back and try to get it later, you actually get penalized. They will bill you more for it because, yes, you pay for Medicare. It's billed against your Social Security. They're going to take that right out of your Social Security check. Let me say that again for all the Bernie bots that are probably never going to see this, but guys, go tell your Bernie bro buddies if you see them. You understand that we have to pay for Medicare. And I'm not talking about in the abstract sense that we pay taxes and then the taxes fund the government and the government. No. We do all of that. And then the bill, usually between $120 and $200 a month for your Medicare Part B, is deducted from your Social Security check once you start drawing your Social Security. Till then, you just pay it out of pocket. And then you've got co-pays, co-insurance, limits, deductibles. You've still got to pay for all that crap. And you still aren't covered for medication. That's Medicare Part D, which is a prescription drug plan that you have to purchase from a private insurer. So now you have 3 separate insurance plans. And if all you have are the free Part A, the Part B that you pay for, and the Part D that's sponsored by a private health insurance company, you will go broke or die relying on Medicare to keep your medical situation in hand as you get older and older. Most Americans who are even a hair above the poverty line end up buying some form of Medicare supplement. Medicare supplements are federally regulated. They're all exactly the same from one company to the next. They come in levels with letter codes, A, B, C, D, E, and F. There's a plan G, too. Yeah, it goes to G. Anyway, and the Fs were the best for a long time. Now, the F plans covered everything. But if you're 65, you get when you're turning 65, you get your open enrollment period, which means you get to purchase one of those supplemental plans without having to go through health questions. I'll get to that in a minute, Rod. You're getting ahead of me, and price controls are not the answer. Price controls are how we got $800 IV bags. Bear with me a second. You're getting ahead of me. No, the best way to get the doctor's bills under control is to end a licensure. I'll get to that in just a second. So your Medicare, you're paying for it. You've got your Part A that's free. You're say $120, $130 a month for your Part B, and then on average about $150, $160. I haven't priced any of them recently because I haven't sold them actively for about a year, but they average around $150 to $160 for one of these Medicare supplements in the F plan area, which now you're covered. Everything's pretty much covered for about $300 a month. Now, let's say you don't buy your supplement when you're turning 65. Well, now, and this is still true, this has not been changed by Obamacare. If you don't buy it when you turn 65, you're subject to health questions. If you're a 67 or 70-year-old diabetic, for example, or you have a history of cancer and the like, well, that's going to reflect on your bill. And you're going to end up paying $500, $600, $700 between your Medicare Part B and your supplement. Now, the good thing about getting the supplement, if you do everything right when you turn 65, you get your Medicare, get that in place, you start paying for your Medicare B, you get your supplement in place, it's going to cover all the extraneous bills that the Medicare Part B doesn't cover, so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is, you're right around $300 a month, and that is essentially your fixed cost of medical care for the rest of your life, no matter how sick you get. That's a big deal. That's a good deal. And that is a drastically tax subsidized deal. The only way that deal works is that the Medicare program itself is heavily tax subsidized. It's a government program. It's a government program that is so shitty that there is an entire multi-billion-dollar private industry market around supplementing the program into viability. That is what Bernie wants. Bernie wants you all on Medicare so that you have government health insurance that is so shitty that you still have to go buy private health insurance to make up the difference so you don't die. Welfare is how we got overpriced gouging. I'm going to need you to elaborate on that, Rod. And let me get back to, rather than price controls to get doctors' bills under control, let me throw this out there for you. Licenses. I'm going to hit this briefly. We'll do a whole show on this sometime because I'll talk about driver's licenses, firearms licenses, so on and so forth. Licenses need to go. The issuance of licenses by city, county, state, or federal government are just highway robbery. There's no reason for it. They're absolute theft. And what the licenses do, let me move this microphone down because I see I'm spiking on the meter over there a little bit. How's that? That's better. Okay, I don't want to blow it out because if I spike, I'll lose that audio. I can't get the clipped audio back. Anyway, so licenses. I don't care what you're doing. A license is a bad idea. For example, with the licensure of doctors, the pushback I'm always going to get whenever you start talking about getting rid of licenses, the pushback you're always going to get, especially when you start talking about doctors, is, well, if they're not licensed, then how do you know that they're qualified to do the job? Okay, before they can get a license, they have to attend a college which has requirements which produce certificates. If you want a piece of paper that says they know what they're doing, all the license says is they paid a government agent to issue them another piece of paper. If they've got the MD, if they've got their medical degree, and they've got the paperwork that's generated by completing the yep, Sharon says her husband is an MD, and let me guess, he went through the licensure process, and ask him about it. The licensure process, apart from being a government money-grabbing scam, is also an artificial bar to entry for other professionals. So you've gone through the school, you've done your flipping thing where you go work in the hospital. Somebody help me out. What do they call that when your residency. So you've been through the school, you've been through your education, you've done your residency, and now you're ready to get licensed. What does the license do exactly? Does the license... Oh. Oh, wait, no, you've got a piece of paper that says you went to school. That's a degree. You've got a piece of paper that says you did your residency. You've got a piece of paper that says you've got your insurance in place. You've got... Nope. That's what the license is. It's taking your money. It's taking your money so that the government can tell you that you now have the right to do this thing that you had the right to do. Hell, I have the right to practice medicine. And to some degree, I certainly have. I'm a trained combat lifesaver. It's a little different. I'm not claiming to be a doctor, but I have had specific training in above and beyond first aid. Dealing with gunshot wounds, tension pneumothorax, setting bones, stitching, reattaching a femoral artery, or at least stopping the bleeding, dealing with major traumatic combat injuries. I certainly can't diagnose and cure your cancer, but if you're gunshot, I am the guy to stick a tampon in your belly. But I can do that. Does that mean that people are going to come and pay me to do that? Fuck no, I haven't been to school for it. I've had military combat training for it, and that's not the same thing. And guess what? Having had military combat training for it, I have a certificate that says I can do that on the battlefield if push comes to shove and somebody's leg is blown off. I know how to tie it off with a belt or what have you. But if I hang that up on the wall and start trying to charge people to diagnose their sneezes and sniffles, well, I'm just not going to be in business for very long. So that's enough on the licensure. Just know that the existence of the licensure artificially bars entry to otherwise qualified candidates, which artificially deflates and restricts competition, which in turn artificially increases costs. Lower supply, higher demand, higher costs. Diamonds aren't expensive because they're rare. Diamonds are expensive because we don't get as many of them into the marketplace as are mined. They're artificially demand driven. I'm sorry, artificially supply side driven. The guys that mine the diamonds and refine them, they rather intentionally hold back the bulk of them so that the supply is low, keeping the demand high by generating that artificial rarity. We get enough of them to use in industrial applications. Anyway, that by way of an analogy. So, your doctor's been to school, and now he's got to get a license. Do I need a license to carry a firearm? Well, the law says I do. But the Second Amendment says that's wrong. Now, that sounds to me like I had a right, which the government decided to take away from me at gunpoint and then sell back to me. Okay. We've gotten way off topic. Rod brought up the cost of having a doctor, or what doctors get paid. The first and best thing we can do to fix the overinflation of medical bills to medical professionals is to get rid of licensing. The next thing we need to do on that front, by the way, is to get rid of there's so much damn administrative cost. In the medical world and in... Wait, Sharon, you don't need a gun gun license? What about for concealed carry? I haven't done a lot of digging in Wisconsin gun law. Do you need a license for concealed carry there? I'll keep an eye out for you to catch up and get back to me on that. Damn it, Sharon, you distracted me. Okay, Sharon says yes for concealed carry. Now, what the hell was I talking about? Okay, let's get back onto the Obamacare stuff. So, little context. We went into Obamacare. There were two kinds of people going into Obamacare. There were the people who supported Obamacare, and there were the people that could do math. Well, I can do a little math, and apparently my math is not even as good as I thought it was, because we went into Obamacare, and if for those of you that have been watching the show for a while, and the several of you in the audience now that have known me for a long time, Legion definitely remembers he and I were in some of the same places together when Obama was running for office, and then when they were trying to boot up Obamacare. Legion definitely remembers some of the things that I had to say about it. My math is good. I knew Obamacare would be a disaster, and guys, I'm right a lot. But in this very rare instance, I was doomsaying, guys, it's going to be the end of the world out type of stuff. It has turned out so much worse than I could have imagined. Obamacare has gone worse than I could possibly have dreamed. I mean, as of December of 2016, as of December of last year, now keep in mind, like in Georgia, for example, I run ObamacareInGeorgia.com. Going into this, I had contracts with a dozen different companies. I could shop through them all and get somebody the best deal. And for the most part, assuming that they were receiving subsidies, I could keep most single young people under $100 a month for a decent health insurance plan under Obamacare the first year. Rod, are you trying to tell me that you just lost audio? Yep, that's right. And yeah, Legion mentions we were at the B Dubs in San Antonio. Okay, well, Rod, I'm gonna push through the rest of the show tonight. I'll go back and listen to this one and figure out what the problem was. Earlier, I was getting some cross feed because one of the antennas on the wireless was sideways. Anyway, okay, okay. No more audio commentary. I'll go back and rewatch it afterwards, so I'll get it all straightened out. Lindsay, you mentioned a $20,000 deductible, and I say congratulations. That is a very reasonably low deductible in comparison. No, I'm exaggerating a little bit there. A $6,500 deductible is pretty common. The base plan that the subsidy price is based on tends to have a $5,000 deductible. Yeah, so I'm about to blow your minds. It tends to have about a $5,000 deductible and charge you about $20 to go see the doctor, maybe $40 or $50 to go see a specialist. Depends on a couple of different factors. Going in, you can get a decent plan on tap. Um, but just follow, just a year later, you got an average of 50% premium increases. Now, here we are 5 years hence, and your average increases have been in the 3, 4, 500% range since the beginning of the Obamacare debacle. In the year 2013, the first year that Obamacare was fully active, your average annual premium for a family of 5 was just a little over $11,000. That is for a plan with a $5,000 deductible and a $5,000 maximum out-of-pocket cost after the deductible. So you're talking about, if you use the plan, and that's a $10,000 family deductible, which means you use the plan, 2 members of the family max out the $10,000 family deductible, and you're still on the hook for $5,000 out of pocket afterwards, on top of the $11,000 you've already paid. Guys, it doesn't take real long to see that you've already racked up, upwards of up to $30,000 in your bills there. You got 11, you got 20, 26, almost 30, you got $26,000, and that's a ballpark average from 4 years ago. Now, before Obamacare, $5,000 and $6,000 deductibles were almost unheard of. When you sat down with an agent before Obamacare was in place, $3,000 and $4,000 deductibles were the high deductibles that you accepted if you were broke and trying to save a couple of bucks on your premium. Right? If you were paying $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 a year for your health insurance in 2010, 2011, you were paying for a $200 or $300 deductible, maybe $1,000 deductible, maybe. So Obamacare has just, yes, the ACA destroyed the health insurance market by destroying all the largest insurers. Oh, no, Legion. I absolutely believed it would destroy everyone. Mostly, as far as severity, I thought it would take a little while longer. And I promised you guys I'd get to the executive orders and the bills and stuff. But let me just throw some numbers at you. I've got some numbers in my notes here. And I pulled these from an article that's linked in the description below. Make sure you go check that out if you get a chance, and make sure you leave comments below as well. By the way, we're up to almost 100 subscribers now. Thank you guys for telling people. Thank you for sharing and hooking all that up. Now, Obamacare numbers as of December 2016. There remain 4 of the 24 original exchanges. They all went bankrupt. They go bye. Now, it's not just that they went bankrupt. Hell, in the state of Vermont, the insurance commissioner was so suspect of the exchanges, he didn't even license the damn things. So they got some $350 million in government loans up front to establish the co-op, to establish the exchanges, and in Vermont, they just never even launched them. That money just went into the ether somewhere. Went into consulting fees where it went. Because it sure as hell didn't go into actually building anything. The exchanges are all run on shady, shitty little. You call the number for the Affordable Care Act insurance, and you're getting somebody in a call center in the desert somewhere who's not licensed. Yeah, if you need health insurance, by the way, get on aca.com/Obamacare in Georgia, or look it up on, if you're in Georgia, I only work Georgia, but you can contact me on Facebook through ObamacareInGeorgia.com, or you can hit me on IronOakGrove.com, and that'll get you over to my contact information. You can call me directly there. I know I probably just set myself up for a lot of trolling, but I'm a licensed agent. If you call the health insurance marketplace to talk to somebody, you know, this is a hard topic to discuss because there's so many problems. It's hard to stay on track and focus on just one problem. I guess I'm just going to have to go back and do a show per problem. The people that work in the marketplace are not licensed insurance agents. They are not licensed insurance agents. Let me be very clear on what that means. As a licensed broker, if I were to hire somebody to do the exact same job for my brokerage that the call center workers for Obamacare do at the marketplace, and I did not purchase them a state license, put them through the school, get them through the state exam, and get them a license in the state, they and I would all go to jail, and I would never have an insurance license again. But old Barry O doesn't give a shit. We'll just pipe in a bunch of low rent workers and let them answer the phones and read a computer script, and that's all they do. They sit there, they read a computer script, they know nothing. Every now and then you get lucky and you get one that's been there since the beginning and remembers a bunch of scripts that they've read so they can rattle it off, they can regurgitate that shit a little bit faster. But they're not agents. They're not licensed. They're not accountable. And they're not professionals. It could only be the quality of what the marketplace is could only suffer more if it were further outsourced to a foreign country and you got people that you just couldn't understand at all. Which there are plenty of on there. Now, up front, just in upfront costs, loans to states to establish the co-ops, we're out $2.25 billion in taxpayer money, and that is without any of the calculation referring to health care providers who have had to be reimbursed by federal funds when the insurance companies were forced out. And this one, obviously the insurance companies are not held harmless in this, in all this crap. They thought, hey, look at how the car insurance industry boomed after the federal government stuck their fucking nose in that business. That'll be awesome. But while they're not held harmless in any of this, in the case that we're talking about here with the failure of the co-ops, the failure of the exchanges, with the exchanges failing, basically the health insurance policies that people had purchased through the exchanges just evaporated. They just ceased to exist. Now, Georgia does not have a co-op. They didn't set up an exchange, so we use the federal marketplace here, which is garbage. And that gets us back to the crux of the conversation about the subsidies. Year before last, the legality of the subsidies were challenged in the courts. Because one of the dirty little tricks that the Democrats tried to pull with the subsidies to begin with is that they were only made available to the states that established state-run exchanges. The subsidies were not supposed to be available to states that did not set up Obamacare co-ops. Well, only half the state, a little less than half, 24 states, set up co-ops. So, with that happening, Obamacare was dead in the water from the get-go. So Barry O stroked his little pen off and said, Yeah, fuck it. Just give them the money. Just give them the money. Let it happen. Well, a couple of years ago, it went through the courts, and it was never satisfactorily determined. The courts did, in fact, say the law does not permit for your states without co-ops to receive the subsidy. So everybody in the state of Georgia should have lost their subsidy under the law, and Barrio stroked that off. That is what this new executive order from Trump has to deal with. He's shutting down subsidy payments to the insurance companies. So the insurance companies, and this should give you nightmares, the things I'm about to say to you. If you're paying $100 a month for a family of 5 to have health insurance, that's because you're getting $900 a month. You know, ballpark, these are just off the top of my head for illustration purposes. That's because you're getting $900 a month in subsidy from the government, where they write a check to the insurance company at the same time that you're supposed to write a check to the insurance company, and that is a function of your taxes, of you, the individual consumer, of your tax credit paying part of your bill. If you have a plan that is $1,000 a month, it is that low because, quite separately from the question of your individual subsidy from the government, the insurance company is also subsidized to artificially reduce the premiums. Let me say that again so that you're tracking. In a world where your average annual health insurance premium, not cost, this doesn't include the question of your deductible and your max out-of-pocket and your co-pays and your co-insurance and whatever you pay for your medication. This doesn't include any of the bills that you still have to pay. This is just the monthly bill that you pay to service the existence of your health insurance policy. In a world where that is subsidized down from $1,000 a month to $100 a month, in that world where the average cost of your health insurance is between $12,000 and $15,000 per year before any of the ancillary costs are tabulated, that price exists at the level that it does because it is artificially suppressed by government subsidy before it is made available to you to consume. I know that's a lot of numbers and a lot of data in a few short sentences, but that should be alarming. That should terrify you. Now let me help you understand what Obamacare is all about. If you make just above the poverty line, there's the silver plan. The silver plan is the gold standard. It's the silver standard. The silver plan, there are no more platinum plans. They got rid of the platinum plans 2 years ago. Platinum plans were Cadillac. They were low deductible, high cost, great coverage. But they went away. Now, the silver plan is the standard against which the subsidy calculations are determined based on income levels. Silver plan tends to have $2,000 to $3,000 deductible. There's levels of silver plan. We talked about the lowest level earlier, which has $5,000 deductible on average. The benchmark plan tends to have $2,000 to $3,000, $3,000 to $4,000 deductible, $20 to $30 doctor visit copay, and $40 to $60 specialist copay, and between $5 and $15 for drugs. And it covers your 10 major coverage arenas. Oh no, Mario, it gets much worse than that. I see your comment there, and no, I'm about to break your brain just a little bit more. So, if you are earning $100,000 a year as a family of 5, you get minimal. You're getting a very minimal subsidy, maybe $100 a month. Say that again. As a family of 5 earning $100,000 a year, you still might be eligible for $100 a month in subsidy. Yes, I said those words out loud. That is the truth, and it's painful to hear that. Then the plan that I just described is one of the good options that you're going to take because it's a lower cost, and unless you have some serious illness where you need to see a specialist with frequency, that's probably where you go. If you are just above the poverty line and getting the maximum subsidy so that plan only costs you $20 a month or $30 a month for a family of 5, yeah, hair above the poverty line, you're getting basically $950 a month in subsidy. Hey, and none of these are quotes. These are numbers off the top of my head. They're pretty close, but these are all ballparks, and they're not, I mean, just average people. Exact quotes require me to have I have to have your zip code, I have to have your birthday, and whether or not you're a smoker, stuff like that. Anyway, if you're just above the poverty line, that plan costs you $20, $30, $40 a month, and it has like a $100 deductible, sometimes a $50 deductible. You're hearing that right. $100 or $200 deductible, a very low deductible. The rest of the numbers are the same, maybe a little lower. You may have $10 doctor visits and $20 specialists, $5 drugs. It is technically the same plan. But if you're living down there at the right over the poverty level, and this is the only plan that they do it with, but it is the most popular plan. It's the one that almost everybody buys. Like 80 to 90% of people buy this benchmark silver plan. If you are earning decent, average, $50,000 a year income, you're still being pretty heavily subsidized on that plan in like a family of 5, but you're going to have that full $3,000-$4,000 deductible. But if you're just above the poverty line, that deductible gets slashed down to $100 or $200. I've actually seen people who were at the exact mark to get the absolute 100% maximum subsidy end up paying $0 for their silver plan and having a $0 deductible. Essentially, they paid nothing and they got everything. They're never expected to pay anything out of pocket. Those people are walking around right now, and they love the Obamacare. They love the Obamacare. Tell you what. Now, think about that. This insurance plan was literally designed to reward poverty and punish achievement. It was quite carefully designed to cause harm to Americans who work harder to earn a living, to Americans who go to work and make some money. Well, so I think I kind of brushed over what the Trumpian deal has done. So prior to the executive orders, the insurance companies were being subsidized directly. So things are about to change drastically with subsidies. And you hear people talk about sales over state lines, insurance companies being able to compete over state lines. Here's the deal on that. They're never very clear on how that works. So the way it works is any company, no matter where they're headquartered, can sell in any state, but there has to be an agreement between those states. There has to be an agreement between companies. So So they have to make very specific, specialized agreements. It's not quite on the level of the monopolistic horse shit that Comcast and, I have Comcast. Who's the other one? Comcast and Spectrum? No, it's not Spectrum. Anyway, you know how the major cable companies, they're fucking us all sideways. They go out of their way to make deals with each other and say, hey, we're gonna cover this area, and you guys cover that area, and we won't compete regionally, so we can steal a bunch of money. Charter, that's the one. No, it's Lucas. It's not Dish. Dish is not quite a part of that. Unlike Charter and Comcast with their shady faux non-monopoly racketeering scam. I mean, let's face it, they're a scam. Unlike that, Dish, they just suck. Dish is just an inferior service. I hate to say it, if Dish were anywhere near competitive with, if Dish or AT&T or Verizon were anywhere near competitive with my major cable provider in my area, I would fire the shit out of Comcast today. I would fire Comcast every day. Anyway. So, the competition across state lines. Part of this executive order that he's just signed basically does away with the restriction that requires the insurance companies to make deals with states. Now, they are still restricted in a way because every insurance company is required to get prior approval. Basically, they have to write up all the insurance plans they plan to sell in any given state. And then, before they can sell those plans in that state, they have to get approval from the Commissioner of Insurance of that state. So, well, guys, I think that's about all I've got for tonight. I'm starting to peter out on this topic. Do make sure you leave, if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below, not in the live chat. Actually go to the comments section below, and I'll either address them in a video or I'll answer them in the live chat. Since I'm solo tonight, we're going to skip the White Hats Matter segment. I'll get it to you later. Oh, and Rod, repeal, replace? No, there is no replace. We had a functioning system previously. The functioning system contained criminals. The answer was never new law. The answer was always law enforcement. So, anyway, if y'all have any more questions specifically about health insurance and how the law is going to change things, leave them in the comments below. If I don't already know the answer, I will look it up. Being a professional in the industry, I have the periodicals, I have the trade journals, I have access to information that's not generally available. It's not that it's not available, it's harder to find. So, anyway, it's been great having you guys this evening. I will see you next week. We love you, we need you. Keep coming back. Hey, we're almost up to 100 subscribers. Help me get there, help me get there. And we're looking for that 1,000 subscriber benchmark. I'm going to have the cast in place on the 15th of November down here in Georgia. And we're going to be filming our first short film as the Guerrilla Tragedians. That title is The Secret and Most Sacred Society of Pizza Ninjas and Obscure Geniuses. I'll get that edited as fast as I can. Like I said, we're going to be filming on probably the 15th and 16th. And after that, I probably take me a week to get it edited and ready to go. Once the film is done, what I'm going to do, I'll make sure that I'll blast it all over Facebook, Minds, everywhere, Twitter, all that. I'm going to schedule a live event for the film. It's going to be about a 20 to 30 minute short film. It's a comedy, a lot of military humor, and what we're going to do, I'll schedule a live event. We'll sit down, watch it live with you guys. Make sure you tune in for that, because we will watch the film live with you guys, and then after the film, we'll discuss the film and take your live comments and all that. So look forward to that. Until next week, it's been great. And remember, if you build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Good night, and hit that subscribe button.